Iguodala. Iguodala to Curry, back to Iguodala, up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James. Curry, one-on-one. Irving puts it up. It's good. Kyrie Irving from downtown. The three, steps back, crossover, puts up a three. Rebound James. Second. It's over. It's over. Cleveland is a city of champions once again. The Cavaliers are NBA champions.
Cleveland! This is for you!
What's up, Cavs fans? Welcome back to the Block the Shot to Stop. Here with Skylar Webker, I am Kevin Lynch on a bit of a melancholy Sunday evening. Here to recap the last two Cavs games, which are unfortunately were both losses. Before we get into the doom and gloom, Skylar, how are we doing? How was Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving was great. A lot of running around, a lot of time with family, a lot of getting to see a lot of unexpected family, which was great. So it was great. How was your holiday weekend?
It was good. It was a good weekend. I think I just kind of ran out of gas by last night and was just kind of I just kind of went to bed real early. But otherwise good. We had family in town. My wife did a fantastic job with Thanksgiving. Got to spend a lot of time with my kids, my nieces, and so it was good. It was a good weekend.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome, man. And a lot of good food, good football. Thankfully, as a Bengals fan, not good basketball though.
Yeah. Which is what we are here to talk about. So, as I alluded to, the Cavs have lost their last two games since we last recorded, and we'll start with Friday night, 130-123 defeat to the Atlanta Hawks. This was a game that it's kind of, as we talked about before we started recording, like, this is you mess around and you found out. Like, you're playing a Hawks team that, frankly, you should be better than. You're as healthy as you've been the whole season, or as far as guys playing, even if a couple of the role players are still out. And the Cavs came out sleepwalking. They were down 10 at the end of the first quarter, recovered in the second quarter, then came out of halftime sleepwalking again, and they carried a 9-point deficit into the fourth quarter. They rallied. They came back. They cut the lead. They cut it to one, or maybe even tied. And then Atlanta made the plays down the stretch, which has been a story that we have told before the season. We're unfortunately going to tell it again when we get to the Boston game tonight.
Sequel.
Yeah, right. But other than the setup here, Skylar, what were your initial thoughts coming out of that Hawks game?
I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head. Is that they seem like they're, and I said it in a previous episode, that seems like they're trying to sleepwalk their way through the season, and it's not going well because they need to win these games. They need to get themselves either closer to the top or separation from the bottom. And right now they're not doing that. They're just kind of hovering around, and it really sucked to lose that Hawks game because they had the opportunity to cement themselves in for the NBA Cup. And that stinks.
Yeah, the NBA Cup, it fell all the results actually fell in the Cavs' favor. Where if they would have just won, they would have gotten in as the wild card or 4 seed. They would have played. Is Toronto the 1 seed? I can't remember. I don't have it in front of me. But regardless, this is the Cup isn't. I don't know, the biggest deal in the world. We're all more focused on the playoffs and everything. But, like, I kind of think this team, with the fact that they have kind of stumbled in the playoffs, stumbled in clutch moments, like, it wouldn't have hurt to get into, like, an elimination tournament for the experience, the exposure to pressure situations. So being honest, I was really disappointed in the loss Friday night. There was some good that came out of it, which we'll talk about, but I frankly thought they had a golden opportunity to qualify for the NBA Cup, and they let it get by them.
Yeah, and let it get by them. And I love what you said about that, letting that be the practice run in pressure situations in the playoffs, especially when you have young contributors on your team like a Naquan Tomlin, a Tyrese Proctor, a Jalen Tyson, like getting those guys in these pressure cooker situations, it would be awesome to have, whether you win the NBA Cup or not, but it would be great to have those ahead of the playoffs.
I agree with everything you said as far as those guys, but I would say you could make arguments that outside of Donovan Mitchell, most of this team hasn't playoff tested in the way that they've responded incredibly in those pressure situations, at least consistently. So yeah, I would have really liked to see. Plus, I like the NBA Cup. I know some people aren't as into it. I'm a big Premier League soccer fan, so this is something that the NBA directly ripped off of the Premier League in the midseason tournament. But I like competitive basketball, and if I don't know, you can't complain about the NBA that sometimes teams go through the motions of the regular season and complain about the NBA Cup because that's part of the solution to that. But getting back to this Hawks game, what I think it was a very frustrating game, and there are some things I like, which we'll get into. But like, what did you want to start with, good or bad? What did you want to start with from the Hawks game?
We can start with Donovan Mitchell, who I think, is you alluded to, is our perennial good.
Yeah,
like
right.
Every episode is always going to be a good Donovan Mitchell. I mean, he really did what he could from a scoring perspective with 42 points, still gave you 3 assists and 3 rebounds and a steal, but night in and night out. I mean, he is Mr. Consistency. You know exactly what you're getting from Donovan Mitchell, and quite frankly, you don't know that from any other person on this roster.
Yep. Donovan was fantastic. Hit so many clutch shots. He was really aggressive at going to the basket, while also somehow attempting 15 threes. I think 4 of those threes were in the last minute of the game when they were just desperately trying to play catch up. But he was phenomenal, particularly at scoring the ball like he has been the majority of the season. And yeah, he would have been one of the 2 positive things I say. So if we're going to do positive, I think Evan Mobley's play has gotten much, much better these last few games. Both just like his shot selection, how he's being used in the offense, the fact that he isn't living out behind the 3-point line nearly as much. He's still taking a few a game, which is totally fine, but it's more living out there and either creating off the dribble from 25 feet from the basket or chucking up a 3. He's getting into the lane much more. He's getting some, this is the best he's contributed like on the offensive boards these last 3 or 4 games, which I think is huge. And he ended up with 20 points, 14 rebounds, 7 assists, not the best shooting percentages, but with Evan, especially, I look for involvement and consistent involvements, throughout the game, opposed to just having a big half. And, and to be honest, he was more active in the second half than he was the first, but still I thought he was pretty consistent throughout the game. And I liked his game Friday. I liked his game tonight even more, which we'll get to shortly. But those are pretty much the 2 goods that I had written down. So do you have another good, or should we go into the bad?
I thought the 3-point shot selection on Friday was excellent. I mean, you see it in the percentage, a 44% clip, and that's up and down. Everybody taking them other than Jared Allen, which rightfully so.
Right.
But I think the 3-point shot selection is a lot better. We're seeing a lot more shots in the corner, which we've talked about is such a higher percentage shot than kind of up around the arc where they were taking all of the shots.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I think they're getting, maybe they're listening to our show because they're making some of these small adjustments, but they're still just sleepwalking through everything. They think that they can beat everybody, and that's not true.
Yeah, it certainly isn't. So to kick off like the bad, and I thought it was the biggest thing that stood out, the perimeter defense as a whole, but particularly the perimeter defense Friday night was awful. Jalen Johnson is an emerging superstar in this league. The fact that he had a triple-double big game doesn't bother me. It does bother me how easy some of it was for him. Scoring, like he had uncontested floaters in the lane, drove me nuts. But more Nickeil Alexander-Walker, very good player, not a drop 28 points on you good player. Like, and then they had a lot of their perimeter role players that were playing well above their skis, frankly, because they were getting unbelievably wide open shots. And I thought the perimeter defense has been a problem with the Cavs for a while, even dating back to last year. I thought this was about as bad as it's looked. To give up 130 to a Hawks team that's missing their best offensive player in Trae Young is disappointing.
I would go a step further, and it wasn't just the perimeter defense. It was the defense.
Yeah.
I mean, if you, even just looking at the box score, everybody on the Hawks, other than 2, and one of the players played 9 minutes, were in double digits scoring.
Yep.
Everybody. So it wasn't just the perimeter defense, because they did hold the Hawks to a 37% clip, but they shot 53% from the floor as a whole. So it was so much just like no defense optional.
Right. Well said. And I thought, if you look at some of the box score and everything, if the Cavs have the majority of their rotation playing, minus Sam Merrill and Max Strus, but if they have the majority of the people playing, they out rebound a team like the Hawks by 10, and they shoot as well as you alluded to. Like, they should not lose this game. You lose this game because you were very deficient somewhere else, and it was on the defensive end. Frankly, the Hawks just over and over again attacked, usually via pick and roll, off the dribble, getting into lane for either easy shots or kick out for wide open threes. And it was bad. It was hard to watch. It was frustrating because the offense, especially with Darius Garland back, seems to be getting closer to clicking. And the offense overall was pretty darn good in this game. 123 points. You're going to be happy with that, every game. But to give up 130 to the Hawks in an important competitive game where you are playing for something outside of just a regular season game, again, really disappointing. And I'll save it for the Boston game because it sticks out more in the Boston game. But I actually think there's blame to go around, not only with the players, but I think the coaching staff, some of the defensive strategy right now is leaving something to be desired. Yeah,
I mean, what I'm looking for, especially in this Hawks game, and we'll look in the Celtics game as well, is look at how many assists the other team's getting compared to turnovers.
Yeah,
their assist to turnover ratio in the Hawks game is pretty good, with 36 assists to 11 turnovers.
3.5 to 1. That's fantastic.
Where the Cavs are 29 assists to 17 turnovers. So they are turning the ball over.
Yeah,
they're not getting good shots. We're seeing the shot selection improve from the beginning of the season, but we're letting the other team kind of just run wild.
That's a really good call out by you. And I think it's very indicative of what we're talking about the defense. If you're not creating any turnovers and you're giving up such great shot selection that the other team has 36 assists, like average in the NBA is maybe mid-20s. So they're going well above that. It's one of those two things could be true. Hawks, give them credit, played very well. They're a good team even without Trae Young, but the defense was just flat out bad Friday night.
So bad.
All right. Anything else you want to point out about this Hawks game before we move it along to just as gray skies here tonight in Boston?
Nope. Let's get to the sequel of the same story.
Yeah. It truly is the same story. The Cavs came out sleepwalking again tonight to the point that the Celtics had a 12-point lead 3 minutes into the game. And then they fight and come back. They fight and come back. They're winning for most of the second quarter. Then they have just a total brain lapse to close out the half to let Boston go on an 8-0 run with virtually no resistance, giving it to them. And And then the same thing, the start of the third quarter. I actually have the runs here. I think Boston went on in the third quarter. They went on a plus 18 run, a 21-3 run from about 10 minutes to go in the third quarter till basically a 5-minute stretch from the 10-minute stretch down to the 5-minute stretch of the third quarter. Boston outscores them by 18 points. And that's the game. Even though it's a 2-point loss and the Cavs had a shot at the end, you give NBA teams a 20-point lead in the third quarter. Yes, you might come back and make the game competitive, but you're usually going to lose. Because it's this weird thing. I don't exactly understand it other than teams just running out of gas, but you get down by that much, you put so much into coming back and you make it a competitive game, but then you just end up not being able to get over the hump. We've seen this half dozen times with the Cavs game. We've seen this exact game play out this way, and just really frustrating because honestly tonight it seemed like a lack of focus and at times lack of effort as you were putting out on our socials during the game.
Yeah. I know the box score isn't going to share this because the Cavs, like you said, in the fourth quarter really got their stuff together and played basketball. Like they remembered they were an NBA franchise again.
Yeah.
But up until that fourth quarter, they were just getting decimated on the glass. Decimated, and not by big guys like Payton Pritchard's in there getting rebounds.
Yeah.
He's out rebounding Mobley, and when the Cavs came down for the rebounds, Celtics were right there trying to get a jump ball or strip it away, and they got a few of them, and they were just getting out hustled. And the shooting numbers are fine for Boston, 49%, 35%. But they got out hustled. They gave up so many offensive rebounds, so many second shot opportunities. It's just, it was hard to watch up until that fourth quarter.
It was, and they were +3 in rebounding, but they, even without Jared Allen, they should dominate this team on the glass. Their best rebounder, Keita, I will mispronounce his first name, so I'll say he's out tonight. Boston has virtually no size, and this should have been a double-digit rebounding advantage. They're -9 in assists again. While the assist number wasn't quite as gaudy for Boston, they did did have 9 more than the Cavs. The Cavs, frankly, played a lot of one-on-one basketball on the offensive end tonight, it seemed. And this is a game I don't want to hear about the Cavs injuries and missing guys and everything, because Jared Allen was out and Sam Merrill continues to be out and everything. The Celtics are playing without Jason Tatum. They're playing without one of the top 5 or 6 basketball players in the league. They have been all year. They're playing without Derek White, who's their second best active player right now. It's fantastic, as well as their starting center that I mentioned. They are just as shorthanded. Actually, they are more shorthanded than the Cavs right now. Do not blame this game on availability of players. The Cavs had plenty of personnel playing tonight that they should have won this game.
And Celtics are on the second night of a back-to-back.
Right.
And you still got out-hustled.
Yep.
Still got out-hustled by these guys.
Yeah.
Jaylen Brown had a triple-double tonight. He had 12 rebounds. Jaylen Brown had 12 rebounds when Evan Mobley is on the floor.
He did, and he also got to the free throw line 16 times. And I don't want to hear about the rest. Were fine tonight. Jaylen Brown, he was earning those free throws because he was the most aggressive guy on the court, trying to get to the basket. Again, like you said, back to back on the second night of back to back. Played like mid 30 minutes last night. Now he plays another 38 minutes tonight, and he wanted the game the most. Him and Payton Pritchard, they deserved the win of this game. The Cavs absolutely did not deserve to win this game, even if they would have made a miracle shot there in the last second, which we will talk about that play. But it very disheartening effort again in back-to-back games with this Cavs team.
Yeah, and you saw sparks. You saw a couple spark plugs with kind of the guys that we always highlight and mention in Jalen Tyson and Naquan Tomlin, and obviously Donovan Mitchell kind of playing hero ball there at the end. And we can talk about the last shot here, but Why is Donovan Mitchell inbounding the ball with less than a second to go?
All right, we'll
to
start
win the game.
We'll start there and work backwards in this game because, like I told you before we started recording, like I completely agree with everyone, you and everybody else on the social media right now, saying that was really dumb to make one of the best shot makers in the world. That the only reason you have a chance there is because he hit 2 insane threes. I also think the game 100% should not have come down to that play. And
agreed.
But this is a problem. I mean, I feel like we and other and a lot of people are calling out players. This is a coaching staff thing. You can't you choose to have Donovan Mitchell out, inbound the ball, and the shot you get is a 20-foot fadeaway from Evan Mobley. That's terrible, like strategy, and the execution doesn't matter because that's such a low percentage shot that the coaching staff put the Cavs in an almost impossible place to win the game at the buzzer in that sense.
I just don't get it. Like, put Craig Porter Jr. in to inbound the ball.
Yeah.
Put Evan Mobley in to inbound the ball.
There's plenty of other candidates. I said, like, why don't you have like Dean Wade? Dean's a solid passer and not the guy you want taking the last shots. Like, I don't understand why you don't run, 2 consecutive actions for Garland and Mitchell with, ideally Mitchell being the first option, Garland being the second. Made no sense. And even as you watch the play develop, like, it was a terribly designed play. Like, Evan Mobley was the most open person for Donovan Mitchell to pass it to. They didn't have a timeout, so he had to inbound it. Like, they developed nothing of significance on that play to try and get a shot. To, again, low percentage, 0.6 seconds left. It's not a great opportunity to try and win a game, but you didn't give yourself a chance.
No, but I don't know. My mind goes back to LeBron in Toronto, where it's kind of the same situation, less than a second to get a shot up to win the game. They didn't have LeBron inbounding the ball. Why? It doesn't make sense. And I agree with you that it's on the coaching staff. Like, everything has to be on the coaching staff at this point. That, yeah, sure, you don't have the personnel that you were hoping to have at the beginning of the season, but I would say neither is most teams. So like you said with Boston, that they're missing a ton of guys.
Yeah.
But the difference is that we're seeing all these teams that are in contention or playoff hopefuls or anything like that. They're starting to get their stuff together, starting to figure it out, starting to gel a little bit. That's the complete opposite for the Cavs. They have nothing going on. And it doesn't look like anything's like really taking a step forward to improve.
Yeah. And you talk about like effort and hustle plays, and you actually called out Evan Mobley for the rebound. Evan was very, very good tonight, and 14 rebounds. I can't say anything about Evan, but like some of the other guys, the amount that they were playing and the amount of 3-pointers that Boston shoots, there's so many long rebounds that the Cavs just flat out weren't getting. Like, Jalen Tyson, our guy, he ended up with 5 rebounds, but like 2 or 3 of those were in the last minute. He should have more if he's playing 34 minutes in a game. Naquan Tomlin, our other hustle guy, he should have more than 2. Lots of other. DeAndre Hunter playing 27 minutes with 3 rebounds, got to be better. I'm like, with the exception of Mobley, Mitchell, and probably Craig Porter Jr. I don't know. I wonder if we'll find out if Craig Porter Jr. re-injure his hamstring or something, because I really liked his minutes, and I might as well get into my bad thing, which is once again perimeter defense. Like, Jaylen Brown's going to have big games. They could have done more to limit him. You let Payton Pritchard have 42 on you, and that is the guy, the type of player the Cavs don't have an answer for right now. The quick guards who come off the pick and roll, who are really good 3-point shooters, like, they have no answer for a guy like that. And they kept putting Jalen Tyson or DeAndre Hunter on him, and I kept saying, wrong matchup. Those guys, both of them want to guard guys their size and bigger. Jalen in particular wants to get physical with them. DeAndre, frankly, isn't always interested in playing defense. And so I said, like, of the available options, give Craig Porter Jr. some added run and put him on. I thought he was their best option to guard a Payton Pritchard tonight. He only got 10 minutes played. He did a lot in those 10 minutes, 4 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. I think he had a steal. And I don't know. I don't. I mean, you also seen there's a lot of advanced numbers about how good of defense Tyrese Proctor's been playing. That's very skewed because of how much he plays, and he plays in some mop up times and stuff like that. But like, I would have rather had him in the game than, they obviously don't trust Garland or Mitchell to slow down someone like that. They weren't using that as a primary matchup. So if you're not going to, I thought, again, poor defensive strategy by the coaching staff, and then put in a bad position, the team didn't execute.
I think they did their assignment, and I do think it's on the coaching. I did think they did their assignment because they held Jaylen Brown to 19 points.
Yeah,
that's pretty good, but they, like you said, they let Pritchardson just torch them.
Yeah.
And they had no interest in adjusting their game plan to account for anything. I mean, the Celtics had 4 guys scoring double digits, 1 guy over 20 points. Yeah. And that guy went for 42.
Yeah. So to your point, Jaylen Brown only ended up with 19, but he was incredibly effective on offense. He ended up with 11 assists. He averages like 4 points a game. And from poor defense, he broke down the defense, got to the free throw line, and then how many times did he dump off to a cutter for a dunk coming in from the corner, where the Cavs lose their guy or they all collapse on Jaylen Brown and they're not organized. And it was incredibly frustrating to watch like this team, which at times last year was a machine offensively and solid defensively, just looks so out of sorts. And you see them even in huddles, they're like pointing, and like you can tell they're confused or not on the same page with one another about like defensive assignments and things. Like I saw like Jalen Tyson and Donovan Mitchell and one other player like all like kind of not maliciously, but like arguing about what was somebody's assignments, who was supposed to be rotation, who was supposed to stay home. And we're over 20 games into the season. This stuff should be somewhat ironed out as far as, kind of simple defensive strategy and rotations. And this Cavs team's a bit of a mess right now, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. And before first point here with Jaylen Brown, you're right. He had, with all the trips to the free throw line, so he had 12 points just at the free throw line. So he only had 6 points that weren't free throws. So they did theirs. They made sure he wasn't going to go off on them, but they ignored every other facet of this game. They ignored rebounding. They ignored defense. They ignored Payton Pritchardson. Pritchard. I keep saying Pritchardson.
I know you
Pritchard. I think this locker room might be a mess because you're right. There were a couple times where they're pointing like, that was your guy, your assignment. It's like, if I'm Kenny, it's got to be everybody's your assignment. Like that, everybody's your assignment. Your job is to win the game, not start the finger pointing or whatever it is. I think frustration is starting to settle inside this team, and that's not a great place to be.
No. And, last point, I don't need to keep bringing this in, but just like they committed like just dumb fouls, undisciplined defense. Like Jalen Tyson fouls Payton Pritchard 45 feet from the basket with a minute to go, and they just cut it to 2, and you're putting a career 90+% free throw shooter on the line and not even having to make him work for the points. I mean, that's like if you ask Boston, like, hey, what would you like us to do defensively to make it easiest for your score? They'd be like, oh, just foul Payton Pritchard for us. And we'll get 2 points out of that. So yeah, just really frustrated. I think a lot of people were really frustrated in the Hawks game Friday night. I found myself more frustrated tonight the way they lost.
I agree. And at least in the Hawks game, you saw a little more like want it, I would say.
Yeah.
Where I didn't even see the want it tonight. Like you said, to close out the half, they just kind of turned everything off.
Yeah.
Like they turned their self-awareness off. They turned their offensive awareness off. They got who was it? Walsh got a quick steal on Donovan Mitchell and almost made a buzzer beater there on the inbound pass. So it's like the frustration is definitely settling in, and then just like the lack of wanting to win this game until the fourth quarter. Like once the fourth quarter came, it's like, oh, that's Cavs basketball.
Yep. Yeah. I'm going to ask this question. And I'll answer it first to give you a minute to come up with the answer. But I was trying to think of like, is there one thing identifiable that you think the Cavs could change right now? And I talked a lot about defensive strategy, but frankly, that's really complex. And while I'm questioning the Cavs coaches, they know how to fix that much better than I do. But one thing I think is fixable and under their control that they actually did in the first half, but then didn't do in the second half. I was really frustrated that they didn't. They take Mobley and Mitchell out at the same time, which I think the correct move is to leave Mobley in with Garland, because Garland has been doing a much better job of getting Evan the ball in better spots. And frankly, Mitchell's the most equipped to run the offense as the primary guy with a bench unit, right? And so like one simple thing I would really like for them to see them do is to change the rotation to keep Garland and Mobley on the floor together as much as possible. They usually rest Donovan Mitchell first, rest him, keep the other two guys in the game, because Mobley, and I'll for our next show, I'll get some numbers to support this, but I'm very confident his offensive production is significantly higher when he shares the floor with Darius Garland than when he doesn't.
Yeah, that's a great, like something's got to change, but I think that's a great thing is letting Darius Garland find the big man, because he does so well with that. That's why whenever Jared Allen is in the game or is playing or available, he always is on that rotation with Darius Garland, and we see those great games from Jared Allen. So something's got to change.
And if Jared's availability is going to be kind of a little bit inconsistent, it seems like this finger injury is something he can play through, but it's going to have to be managed with games off and stuff like that. It did look like he aggravated it Friday night. I saw him holding it a lot there in the fourth quarter. So at least while Jared Allen's out, I want to see them match Mobley and Garland's minutes, because I think that is the best solution right now to keep a consistent offense on the floor, and most importantly, keep Evan Mobley playing better, because while the Cavs have a lot of problems, that can solve a lot of them. If Evan's putting up games like he has the last two, I know they lost last two, but I'm going to feel better going forward as hopefully some other things get fixed if we can get this kind of consistent play out of him.
Yeah. And for me, I would say it's hard to say consistency, because you want consistency up and down the roster.
Sure.
But if I had to finger point the consistency, I'm going to put it at DeAndre Hunter.
Okay.
This is a guy that you're saying, hey, the starting role is mine. I'm going to be the starter.
Right.
You gotta put in starting effort. Like you can't be negative 31 on your plus minus with 8 points, 3 rebounds. You got out rebounded by I'm going to say it right this time. Payton Pritchard.
There you go. Yeah. So obviously a lot to unpack with these couple of games, but I think we thoroughly vented over these two games and can hope for a little bit brighter skies coming up here. So like tonight actually started a crazy week for the Cavs. They actually play 5 times in 7 nights this week. So they're going to get plenty of chances to redeem themselves, and hopefully they do. So we're going to just briefly look at the next 2 games. They got Indiana tomorrow night, second night of a back-to-back. They travel to Indianapolis, and then they play Portland at home on Wednesday night. It'll be the first time they played Portland this year. First in the Pacers game, the Cavs pulled away in what was a pretty competitive game, but that they took more control of in the second half a couple Friday nights ago. That was an NBA Cup game. If I recall, Donovan Mitchell had another really big game, which is, you can just kind of say that and not have to fact check yourself. But the Pacers have obviously really struggled this year. It's well noted that they're missing their best player. They had a lot of roster turnover, some injuries. They got to win this game tomorrow night, right, Skylar?
have to. You have to right the ship. I mean, I'm looking at the standings, which mean absolutely nothing at this point in the season. But they're 7th. They're not. They're in the play-in right now. They're not. So you gotta win. You gotta win these easy games against both the Portland and the Pacers.
The Cavs have definitely slid in the standings this last week or so, but the East standings are so jumbled up. If you have a good 5, you go 4-1, 5-1, like you're gonna suddenly find yourself up to like 3rd or higher right now.
So I said it means absolutely nothing.
Right.
But if you look at it, and if I were the Cavs players and I saw it would piss me off that we're in the play-in.
Right. For sure. So anyway, not a ton to say about the Pacers game. We previewed a game with them recently, so just hoping for a solid performance, hoping there's guys available and guys that want to play defense. And Portland Wednesday night, like I said, it's the first time we played them. Denny Avdia has turned into their star player. The Cavs saw him last year. I was actually at the game in Cleveland, where I think he ended up with like 37 on the Cavs and has become, borderline star in this league, especially offensively. He is really, really, really good. They have several other guys, and they're. I think I was going to say 9 and 10. They're 8 and 11 this year, which is 9th in the West, but they've been really competitive there. And honestly, the way this Cavs team's playing right now, I'm not penciling any W's. So Portland is a really solid team that frankly has a lot of good players on the wing, which seems to be the Cavs' Achilles heel. And, I don't know. I just really, these are 2 very winnable games, but at the same time, you enter them without a lot of confidence because of the way the team's been playing right now.
Yeah, and for the Portland game, they have a ton of those wings are out. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I'm like Scoot is out till end of December. So
I know he's out. They still have. Like Shaedon Sharp's a very good player. They have Drew Holiday who's hanging on.
Drew's out.
He is out. Okay. Well, that helps a little bit.
Bible's out.
Okay.
You feel a little better, but still
a little bit. And you really want to get these two because while we're not going to preview them right now, the slate gets much tougher this weekend when they have the Spurs and Golden State on a back-to-back, which Golden State's been very inconsistent this year, and the Spurs are without Wembanyama, but actually still playing really well. That being said, those 2 teams are still much better than these 2 teams you're about to face. So now would be a great time to start correcting things. The Cavs, as we mentioned, did make the NBA Cup, so they are going to get some time off. They did get a couple of games added to their schedule here in mid-December, which we'll mention as they get a little bit closer. But they still are they have this crazy stretch, and then they're going to have some time off. So now would be a really good time to buckle down, try and get 3, maybe even 4 wins in this crazy week that they have coming up, and start to right this ship a little bit. And then hopefully with that time off, they can work out a lot of these kinks and just get ready because it's our expectations were unreasonable because of last year. I get that, but they are playing far below what their standards should be right now.
Absolutely. Can't agree more.
All right. Well, on a better note, let's close out the show like we do every Sunday with put something nice on the internet, which is what I'm going to call it now. Internet is often doom and gloom, so we like to share one nice thing that we either personally experienced or saw that we can put on the internet. So, Skylar, what do you got?
I don't really have a lot because I haven't been on the internet for the past couple of days.
Well, it doesn't have to be the internet. I'll give you I actually have 2 very quick ones. One, cool. I want to shout out somebody in our Blue Sky Cavs community. Her name is Terry Meadows. She started this thing, which I noticed probably a couple months ago. But now I find myself looking her up every day. She says trying to cleanse your timeline with one beautiful picture or something every day. So basically, she obviously is a talented photographer. She takes all these like beautiful landscape, architectural photos and everything. And so like no discourse or anything. She just like puts up a very, very well done, beautiful picture that trying to put you in a better mood. And I just appreciate, honestly, it's the same spirit as this, trying to put something nice on the internet. So shout out Terry. The one other good thing I'll say is I attended my first G League game today. It was the Cleveland Charge, played here in Chicago, and it's a lot of fun. And it's a fun environment, and especially if young kids, take them to that. Let them be that kind of their starter sports experience before you try and take them to a Cavs game, because it's much easier than going to a professional. You pull right in. You're 2 minutes to walk in the door. I'm a big proponent of going to minor league sports in general. A lot of times it's baseball, but in this case it's the G League. It was a really good experience, and the Chargers are a fun team. I'm not in no way saying they're going to be more talented or more entertaining than the Cavs, but they put up 88 points in the first half, and they run like crazy, and they dunk and they shoot threes, and it's actually a pretty fun thing. They beat the Windy City Bulls today pretty handily, and it was fun. So that's my one nice thing. Going to G League games is fun, and if you have a young kid like I do, take them. They'll really enjoy it.
That's awesome. Yeah, I know Tim loves going to G League games. So
yes,
I think it might not be a nice thing, but just kind of maybe a cool shout out is I have a good buddy of mine. We've been friends for 20 years now or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't really get to see each other that much anymore because he's got a pretty intense work life, and he works in the hospitals. So he's constantly in and out of work. So,
okay.
But they welcomed their third child into the world. So he's going to be on paternity leave. So me and him are going to get to hang out a lot more while he's on paternity leave till the end of the year. So, congratulations to Luke and Lauren on your third child. And hope to see you guys here I think next weekend.
Nice. Congrats, Luke and Lauren. Yeah, I mean, welcoming a new child's always a nice thing to share, and congrats to them. And yeah, hopefully always good to see good friends as well. So see, lots of nice stuff all wrapped up in one. Well, for that we will get out of here. We will be back Wednesday nights following the when the Cavs take on the Portland Trailblazers to recap that game, as well as the Pacers game earlier in the week. Thank you so much for following us as always. Check out the social medias, find us anywhere on podcasts, and we're gonna get a little bit more serious about trying to recruit people to play back, both to watch games with us and to be more interactive on the podcast. So we're gonna use that break that the Cavs have coming up to put out some more content and try and engage with people a little bit better. So for Skylar Webker, I am Kevin Lynch, and as always,
go Cavs.